Hi everyone, good to see you again. We are at the lecture 12, the practice of assessment. We learned the testing and assessment in the last lecture, and I wanted to let you experience some the testing itself. Actually, I developed this lecture. We don't have any information from the textbook, so please to watch this lecture carefully. And if you want to have more information about this MBTI testing, you can just explore and lots of information on the website. If you type the MBTI in the Google search and other search engine, you will see lots of information there. So today, we will talk about some characteristics of MBTI. MBTI is one of the popular personality type testing. M is the Myers, B means the Briggs. They are the relationship between the mother and daughter. They developed the type personality type testing based on the Carl Jung, who was one of the psychodynamic theorists. So Myers-Briggs type indicator testing, we will talk about that. And it has 4 different indicators. So each indicator has 2 different dichotomous the choices. So 4 by 4 makes 16 different types. The third one, identify your own MBTI characteristics, personality. And so please, I put down one of the sample website. You can take the MBTI test for free. So please visit this website, and you need to have your testing result to understand the whole lecture. So you have to complete the test taking here. And also apply MBTI personality type in your life. We can apply this result when interacting with others, when communicating with others, even preparing for the exam. So it's pretty applicable, the type testing. So I hope and I encourage you to use this result when you to work with others in your setting. Well, let's take a look at some of the characteristics of MBTI. I put down 5 different characteristics here. The first one is a preference. All the questions in MBTI ask you to choose one of 2 choices. In other words, this testing asks you your preference. If you look at this one, that's why it is composed like a dichotomous choices. It postulates dichotomies. For example, when we talk about the personality, sometimes we call, okay, this type of person is extrovert, very outgoing, very energetic. And the other type person is very introvert and very calm and very sincere and careful. So this MBTI testing postulates dichotomous choices and asks you how you are comfortable in one of 2 situations. Okay, so the preference dichotomy is one of the characteristics. And also, 4 indicator makes 16 different types personality, and each like a personality type have very different dynamic. I will explain that. And development, the personality is not fixed. Throughout the lifespan, we develop and sometimes the personality is changed as well. So we will talk about some the development issue as well. The last one is we could apply this result in many different settings. So MBTI has very different characteristics compared to the other the personality testing. So let's take a look at the each indicator first. So in this case, as I introduced, MBTI use some dichotomous concept. Sometimes I use some like a holding hands activity. Well, let's do it together like this. Okay, can you do it with, just follow me? If we hold hands together or grab hands together like this, actually we see two different types of person. For me, look at this, my hands. My left thumb is top of the hands. But some people, the opposite, like right hand thumb is top of the hand, okay? Let's switch. How about you? In this case, when I put my left thumb the top of hands, I feel much more comfortable. I feel pretty natural. I could do this, but I feel much more comfortable with this position. This is the same as the MBTI. If you look at two different situations, you may prefer one of two. I feel more comfortable when I stay by myself, and I'm not really energetic person. I feel more comfortable as an outsider or just observer. I just prefer this type of situation. I could behave like this, but I feel more comfortable this way. This is the dichotomous preference in MBTI. So we see some different characteristics. So extrovert person is outward, energetic, and active, and they experience first, and they prefer speaking. But the other side, introvert, their energy focusing on the inside, and they're sincere and careful, and pretty calm, and they try to understand first before doing, and also they prefer writing. So, and also the strengths of the preference is also different. You know, some people would show very strong extrovert and very strong introvert, and a little bit neutral. But this type testing asks you to choose one of the two choices anyway. So the first indication to show the direction of energy. When you show your energy to outward, you are an extrovert person. When you put your energy inside, and you are the introvert. The second indication is perception, how to perceive the situation or object. The sensing and intuition, the sensing person, they use 5 different senses, and they focus on here and now, and they are very good at identifying very detailed and small things. However, the end person, they sometimes use like 6th sense, like intuition, and future-oriented, and also they are very creative, and they prefer using some meaningful metaphor, and they are good at looking at the overall picture. If you look at the 2 pictures here, the left picture show the person is showing a tree, but the second end person now looking at the whole wood, the mountain. So you see some difference. For example, you know, when you look at some movie or some drama, and sense person, they have a tendency to look at very detailed, like characters, like an earring and necklace, or some outfit types of thing. But the M person, they are good at like predicting the next scene, because they are good at looking at the whole overall picture here. The next indication is judgment, is TNF. So if they are judging based on some rule and principle, and they will be the T person. If they judge based on some relationship with others, and then that will be the F person, like a feeling. So the T person focus on truth. What is true? What is the rule? What is right and wrong? And they're pretty logical. It's more work-oriented person. However, the F person is more relationship-oriented. They are pretty friendly. They really concerned about the relationship with others. Okay, So you see some difference here. And the next indication is kind of attitude or kind of lifestyle. The J person is pretty organized and pre-planned and very decisive and step by step. They use a lot like a diary and organizer and scheduler. So they know what to do next day and pretty well prepared lifestyle. However, the perceiving is pretty flexible and situational and pretty tolerant. So you look at this, the left picture show the person is very organized room, very clean, and even studying in late night. However, the right person perceiving is pretty messed up. It shows a little bit negative side, but this person is also flexible as well. So the MBTI show 4 different indications is a kind of direction of energy and perception and judgment and the lifestyle. So that 4 indication makes like 16 different characteristics like here. So you should have one of these, the personality, okay? So if you complete the test taking, you should have one of this. So if you look at here, 16, we see some dynamic here. For example, all the first 2 lines here, all the first 2 lines is an introvert person. However, the next 2 lines is extrovert person, okay? And also, these 2 lines, these 2 columns, is all the sensing person, and also like a intuition person, and also the first column and the right column is the T person, and the middle 2 column is the F person, and also the first line and the 4th line is J, and the middle is the P person. So we have 16 different types of personality here. And this slide shows some nickname of the 16 different personality. So if you look at here, for example, ISTJ is very, think about each indication. I means introvert, very calm and also very good at looking at the detail and focusing on here and now and work-oriented and focusing on the rules and principle and very organized and well-prepared. So they are good at like inspecting something, okay? However, the opposite personality is ENFP, right? So IESNTFJP. ENFP is inspirer. They have very different personality, and they are very energetic, and they are very creative. They are very friendly, and they are very flexible. So, so their nickname is inspirer. So 16 different types of characteristic has a different nickname. And this slide shows the one of the interesting kind of statement. I will upload the all different prayers in the website, so please take a look at. But I will show the 3 different examples of prayer. It's pretty fun. For example, ISTJ, when they pray, they made a phrase, Lord, help me to worry less about details starting at exactly 11:43 a.m. tomorrow. So they are praying, you know, to worry less. However, they are still talking about, you know, like 11:43 a.m. You know, exactly. So they are still, this expression show that the characteristics of the ISTJ person. How about the ESTJ? ESTJ, even though only the first indicator was replaced, but they are showing very different like a characteristics. And actually ESTJ, if you look at the the nickname was a supervisor, and another nickname is a Superman. So Lord, help me not to control everything because they have a tendency to control. But if you need some help, just ask me. So it's funny because the person with ESTJ characteristics try to even control Lord. Okay. The third one, ESFP. ESFP, if you look at the nickname, the slide is the nickname was a performer, and they really like a dance and party. And look at here, Lord, please help me to take things more seriously because they are not really serious, especially parties and dancing. So each phrase of statement and prayer show that particular type's characteristics. So please read the other the prayers in the website. Please check it out. And the next slide, we want to know how to apply what we learn this MBTI result. Let's take a look at this example. If we are ESTP person, and this recommendation will help the particular person when working, when communicating with others. For example, E person. E person prefers speaking. So, and they are very outgoing and they are very sometimes talkative. So ask a question before speaking because they need to listen. Practice active reflective listening. We talked about the active listening concept. They are a good speaker, but sometimes too much speaking sometimes is regarded as some dominant and some intrusive behavior. So they may have these types of listening skill. If they are taking some note while listening, that will increase their listening time. So that will be some suggestion for the E indication. Try to help the person to be a good listener because they speak too much. Sensing, they are good at looking at very detailed, but they also need to increase their ability of looking at it as a whole. So remember the ultimate goal and funnel specifics toward the core idea. What is the ultimate things? And keep in mind the overall theme. So they have a tendency to look at too small things. But this recommendation kind of challenge the person to think of it in general. T person, their decision really based on the principles and rule. So, it recommends some critical feedback, and brainstorm some others positive aspect because sometimes, and they tend to show some critical and negative evaluation of others. That's why they encourage to show some positive aspect. To keep thinking from others' perspective because they have less relationship oriented. P person, keep your thought clear and make priorities of theme and use structured timeline. Even though they are good at and they are flexible and they are very, kind of a laid-back style, but this one recommend the person to be more kind of structured and more kind of sensitive to the structure. So these are the recommendations. I ask you and I encourage you to think about, okay, this is my personality. What would be better if I change something? Think about by yourself. Application, we can also apply this MBTI personality to the classroom setting. I just put down two different relationship between teacher and a student. If we have a teacher with ISTJ, and actually the ISTJ is a typical and much more personality types of the Korean teacher actually. And when we let the student complete the task, we actually see lots of ENFP students. It's very interesting, the dynamic between them, okay? Look at this. Teachers, they always want the student to be quiet. And also they ask very detailed and even lots of homework, and they ask students be very organized and be prepared, and also they really stress the rules and guidance and principle. However, students are very energetic and very creative, and they are really relationship oriented. They really want to listen from the teacher, very warm-hearted statement, and they are pretty flexible. They don't really follow the deadline for the homework. So we see some kind of conflict based on their personality type in our classroom. So this will show another perspective, you know, the kind of existing and intrinsic the conflict between teachers and students may be originated by their personality type. So we can apply this type of dynamic not only in the classroom, but also your own life situation. And even study skill, because many theorists in investigating MBTI identified each person with different personalities are using different skill based on their personality. For example, I person, you know, they have to be, they are really calm and very quiet in the classroom. So it recommends the person to ask more questions and study alone first because they feel more comfortable, but then go to a study group. So, you know, increase some interaction with others. Try to get valuable information from peers. So it increases the student to have more, some interaction with others. And person is very creative, but they also need some step-by-step like study skill, make flashcards for memorizing detail because they are weak in that. Don't tune out during lecture. They help to focus on the lecture. F, participate in a small study group because they prefer the working together. And also, if they have a good mentor, and that will be effective way because they are really relationship-oriented person. So if they have a good mentor, and that types of relationship-based strategy will help the person to increase the study skill. Finally, a P person, get organized and stop procrastinating. Please submit in due date and be certain goal, clear goal. So, you know, even study skills, in other words, even some preparation, any types of behavior, different types of behavior are based on some different personality. So we can also apply. The final application is some interaction with your peers, your friends, and your parents. In this case, I put down some only one difference, right? They are the same energy, direction of energy. They also have the same perception, same attitude and lifestyle. They are only different in their judgment. But actually, they are very different because ISTJ person is more work-oriented and focused on achievement. And also, they are very accurate. And they focus also like competence. However, the F person is family-oriented and relationship-oriented and empathic understanding and warm-hearted. So when they interact together, usually they may experience conflict in these issues. So if you know your type and if you know the other person's personality, you may kind of control and you may try to adapt. You may try to modify your reaction by considering the other's perspective. So that is the kind of application of this result. Because it's interesting and also it's pretty effective, you know. I really try to use this types of information when working with the student and even client and other, you know, the friends, because if I know their kind of personality, and then I can make the better judgment. Okay, if the person is you know, strong E person, and that behavior is understandable. I am the I person, so I'm usually as a role, I usually pose a role of listening, but I feel like I might ask more questions and types of, you know, kind of self-talking to make adjustment in interacting with others. So please try to use your personality type when working with others. Well, the final slide shows some notification. Type is not destiny, you know, because it's still, you know, in the process of development. And type is not a limitation. You know, we have a tendency to envy the opposite personality, but you know, MBTI show our 1 over 16, and if we look at the description of the each characteristic, actually it describes in pretty positive way. We have a tendency to think my personality as a limitation, but it's not. We have lots of potential inside. So type is not a limitation. Try to make the best use of our potential. And weakness is not at the same line. Type is an informed opportunity. You try to use your personality, and this is not absolute reserve. This is a preference. All types have strengths. Okay. So today we talked about the MBTI, and it shows some useful website you can take a look at to get more information. And also you can take another test by visiting this website. So today we talked about some practice of assessment. We learned some testing and assessment before, but I want you to experience the real testing and how to apply that result in your life setting. And I introduced one of the popular testing, the MBTI, for today. So please, you know, to visit and complete the testing. And if you have more questions, because we don't have any information in our textbook, please ask me a question and post your question to the website. I will be glad to respond to your question. So I hope you enjoyed this the lecture for today, and we will talk about some multicultural issue on the next lecture. See you.